preseason game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Seattle Seahawks. Let me fix my Gamecast really quickly. Thanks for joining me. So there's 4 minutes left on the end of the second quarter. Seattle just looks like Zach Charbonnet is taking it for 50 or so. 30-yard run for George Holani for Seattle Seahawks, taking them all the way up to the 45-yard line. Man, what a great run. All right, starting with the fresh set of downs. It'll be 1st and 10 from the Seattle 45. Handoff. Letting him run again. Another 5 yards. Maybe 6. Wow. Into Kansas City territory. Wow. Yeah, just great blocking by Seattle. Seattle has, in my grades, top 5 O-line in the league. I love their, pull up this Tundra here. And oh my goodness. Watch out for your fantasy. This guy is crushing. And he just ripped off another 8-yard run. And I think he's a fullback, actually. Number 36. Gotta find that depth chart. Seattle Seahawks depth chart. Who is this guy? In the I formation, they're good. Fresh set of downs. Drew Lock takes a run, takes it for 3 yards to the 38-yard line. It's great to see Drew Lock still running. I'll always have love in my heart for Drew Lock. I think he's great. All right, and they've got it 2nd and 7. Taking the shotgun. Handoff. Alani once again takes it to about the 35, and that'll be 3rd and 2. All right, let's find this Alani guy. Is he the fullback? George Holani. Gotta keep an eye on this guy. Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. If you're looking in a deep league, George Holani. Keep an eye out. 3rd and 3, Seattle taking it. Holani's got once again, and it looks like he's got right over the line. Looks like he spun his way, and that'll be another Seattle 1st down. I'm gonna pull up some stats on these. Let's see what the player stats we have at. So Patrick Mahomes has not played a snap. Gardner Minshew's taken all the snaps. Who's done 4 completions on 5 attempts, 47 yards, 0 touchdowns, as you can tell at the 0 points. Carson Steele, 4 carries, 13 yards, 13.5 yards a carry. Gardner Minshew also took 1 carry for 5 yards as well. Pacheco took one reception for 22 yards. Good to see that. Isaiah Pacheco doing great. And we go to the Seahawks. Sam Darnold completed 4 for 4. You know, that's great to see for Sam Darnold because a lot of people are not on board with Sam Darnold this year. And I don't disagree with it. I think if I look at the Seattle offense, the pass block and the rush block are bottom 15. They're kind of on that like middle tier to lower tier, so nothing you can get too exciting about. So I'm just worried about Sam Darnold kind of like getting like blown up a couple times and then just not having a great, and then just kind of losing it, starting to see ghosts. And I think Kevin O'Connell's offense last year was real helpful for him. And they've also got a rookie guard on Seattle on their left guard, Gray Zabel, and then my goodness, like all their O-line had injuries last year. So we'll have to see how they hold up this year. So far, looking good in this game. So far, looking great in this game. Defensive starters. Here, and I can share the screen too. This is kind of cool. This is my ratings for everything. Seahawks. Alright, I'll bring this up. Actually, let me hide this real quick. We'll get back to the game. And, and they're running again. Wow. So far this offensive line is looking awesome. They just ripped off okay, let's see. My goodness. Down the B gap. 10 yards. Holy moly. 20 yards. They've got 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. Looks like they call a timeout. JK, end of the first, not a timeout. Alright, let's get back to this. Alright, okay, so let me show you. Yeah, so Seattle up 7-0 on the Chiefs, as expected in all this preseason madness. This is kind of preseason test for us. If there's anything you're interested in seeing or hearing about, or any stats, I'd love to hear it. We're planning on doing a fantasy auction draft in a couple weeks. That's going to be really exciting. That's the main one I do with my friends for a huge, a lot of money. So it's always fun. It's a very high stakes league. And I'm happy to answer any questions about auction players or kind of my big board. Also, we're going to be giving you picks every Tuesday. Every week this NFL season on Tuesdays. Tune in. We've got a model that predicts weekly team totals. So, for example, one of our hot picks is looking at the Eagles over 26.5 points on the Week 1 debut against the Cowboys. We will keep you updated on that. Keep tuning in. We'll help you beat the books. Okay. So over here, I've got the Seattle. Just bring this up over here. Okay, so. Oh, you know what? I can't scroll on this. That's going to be a problem. But essentially, you can kind of see the. Let me just open this up so I can. It's the preseason for the Turf Monster show as well. We're just dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Okay, let's see. All right, and we are back. Well, it's a rainy night in Seattle, Washington. Looks like it, at least from the windows and everything. And we're going to start off the second quarter with Drew Lock taking the snap under center. No surprise here. We got a rush from Adam. What was his name? Not even on the depth chart. This is very tricky with the preseason. And I'm behind because our Gamecast has a touchdown. And there is a touchdown. Russia. Well, Seattle is crushing this game. And there's the extra point. And there is the extra point. Seattle goes up 14-0. And my game is paused. I lost my headphone connection too. Don't worry, got a backup plan. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get the game to show up on my browser on Hulu. I tried on both Safari and Google Chrome and didn't actually work. I hear YouTube TV is where it's at. Thinking about switching to that for this season. YouTube TV for my NFL provider. So let's look at some of these. Let's look at some of these week 1 lines we have. We've been monitoring the wait a second, something playing audio. Hey, baby. It's going well. Okay, some technical difficulties here, as expected. Maybe it's Safari that's playing it. There we go. Alright, now that is not playing. Okay, let's see. All right, so here's what we're looking at for the team totals. We've got Dallas at 19.5 points and Philadelphia at 26.5 points. Now, I love that 26.5 points. Uh-oh. Wait, let's get back to this Chiefs game. We've got a rush. We've got number 11 on the Chiefs. Who is that? Just rush for like 30 yards. take him right to the 50-yard line. It was Brashard Smith, I believe. And then who do we got in at quarterback? Is this Bailey Zappi? Might be Gardner Minshew still. All right, let's see if the Chiefs can score. All right, so we got Gardner Minshew starting under center. He's got a jet sweep off to, oh my goodness, great run. And a great 11-yard run for Elijah Mitchell. No, Brashard Smith, pardon me, number 30. Both teams, great running game. I wonder if I can do any pulls here. Here's a question for streamers. Can you name the two left-handed quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks in the NFL this year? One in the NFC, one in the AFC. Pressure coming. And that'll be a first down from veteran tight end Robert Tonyan. First down. About 15-yard, 10-yard catch, 5-yard yak. Travis Kelce looking on, proud of his fellow tight end. All right. Then we got Gardner Minshew under center, handing off to Brandon Smith, I believe. All right, we got second and 7. Minshew looking left. He's got some pressure. He just throws it away, out of bounds. That'll bring up third down. All right, we got 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7 from the Seattle 21. Gardner Minshew takes a snap from the shotgun. He looks left. He releases. No one there. Flag on the field. Looking like a spot flag. Should be a fresh set of downs. Pass interference. That'll be a fresh set of downs within the 5-yard line. On a second look, it actually looked like not that much contact. But, you know, hashtag, it's preseason for everyone. All right, first and goal from the 6-yard line. Elijah Mitchell takes it for 3 yards, and that'll be across the 5. I think it'll be at the 2-yard line. And there's that touchdown right there, showing up on the Gamecast. That'll be a touchdown from Gardner Minshew to Robert Tonyan. Touchdown, Kansas City. Gardner Minshew's rocking a classic Gardner Minshew mustache. So we got ourselves a game here, 7-14, 21 total points. Not even the end of the first half. I think this over is crushing. Video max screen capture. Do window capture on the so let's take a look at these numbers here. First up, we've got Dallas at Philadelphia. And what really stands out to me on that one is, let me move this over here so I can show. Okay, so what really stands out to me is that, so the over-under is at, this doesn't show the over-under? I'm surprised, actually. All. Yeah, let's do all, please. There we go. Yeah, this is a way better view. How do I get rid of this? Get out of here. Skip ad. Get this modal out of here. Oh, that actually might even be better. Smaller, poop, then it goes away. Okay, so Dallas and Philadelphia, these are the Betting Pros odds, not sponsored by them. I just really like this aggregator here. Total points, can't decide, somewhere in the 47, 46. I will say what's significant about that number is the so if we're talking 47, essentially we're talking to hit that. That's you're looking at 6 touchdowns, 2 field goals total, which is pretty improbable because you're just gonna naturally probably get more field goals depending on the game. But you know, I think both the Cowboys and the Eagles like their field goal kickers. I know there's a great case to be made that Jalen Hurts and the Eagles just don't really score a lot of field goals just because they get 4th and 1 and just push their way to first downs. But that's kind of where that number comes in. So there's a big, huge positive EV. You know, if you can find that 45.5 number, because then you're talking 4 touchdowns, 6 field goals to hit. Just much less. So you get 1 more touchdown on that, and you're wiping away a lot of these issues. Seattle taking it across the 45-yard line, first down. Great pass by Drew Lock. I'm going to go back to the game real quick. Yeah, great catch. Great first down. You know what I like about Cooper Kupp and JSN is that their numbers are 10 and 11. That's very fun that they're just right next to each other. We see Clint Kubiak calling plays over there. So far, he's been calling a pretty great game. Although mostly Seahawks rushing has just been crushing. Oh, Drew Lock taking off. Plenty of green space. He might take it all the way. He's going to get tied up at just before the 5. Seattle looking for their 3rd touchdown. Drew Lock. 30-yard run from Drew Lock. However, there is a Seahawk on the ground. All right, let's jump back to the odds. So essentially what these numbers tell us is that the Philadelphia Eagles are implied to score 26.5 points on this first week of the NFL season. And Dallas should be scoring 19.5 points on this first week of the NFL season. Now, to me, it just doesn't seem. It seems pretty possible for Philadelphia to score. What you would call, if you're just looking at that individual score of 27, 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals. Like, Philadelphia's going to run ahead. I guess so. Here's kind of a model I've been working off of. Scoring trends. Okay, so this is a sheet called Scoring Trends, and essentially I looked at the data over the last 5 NFL seasons, and found that on average, every single week will have, at least in these 16 game weeks, it'll change. Numbers change a little bit. Like once you get to week 5 plus, you get you'll have 2 teams with 4 passing touchdowns, 3 teams with 3 passing touchdowns. You'll have 2 teams with 4 passing touchdowns, 3 teams with 3 passing touchdowns, 9 teams with 2 passing touchdowns, 11 teams with 1 passing touchdown, and then 7 teams with 0 passing touchdowns. Similarly, we'll know that 2 teams will score 3 rushing touchdowns, 5 teams will score 2 rushing touchdowns, 13 teams will score 1 rushing touchdown, and 12 teams will score 0. And then finally, and less impactful in the overall score, but field goals, or less, more difficult to predict, field goals, you're going to get 2 teams that will score 4 field goals. You will get 5 teams that score 3 field goals. You will have 8 teams that score two field goals, and you will have 9 teams that score 1 field goal. So essentially what that tells us is that we get to bounce that off of the data model that we're building over at Turf Monster, and kind of help us predict. So if we look at especially the rush game, we have the Philadelphia-Dallas matchup ranked as the 10th best, which means that they would only score 1 rushing touchdown, which just doesn't feel right. I think they're going to score much more rushing touchdowns than the Chicago Bears. Yeah, you know what? I really do have to kind of update these ratings, because there's no way the Chicago Bears are going to score more rushing touchdowns than against the Minnesota Vikings than the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, that would be crazy. So that is a good note from my model that I want to update this. All right, let's lock back in on the Seattle game and watch them score. 3rd and goal. Drew Lock, under center. Oh. Right, takes it to the 2-yard line. This will bring up a 4th and goal from the 2-yard line. All right, 6 offensive linemen. Drew Lock looking. Oh my god. And that is broken up. It's broken up in the end zone. That'll be a turnover on downs. Chiefs ball at the end of the break. So yeah, I feel like I put too much, at least in the rush weighting, based on the head coach. So Philadelphia, I just gave a lowering to a standard lowering to, just based off of the brain drain of adding a new OC. But the OC should affect the run game a little less than the passing scheme. Obviously, the passing scheme and the run scheme bounce off each other. So yeah, keep sticking around. We'll have some gambling tips in come week 1 of the NFL. All right, we got a couple more minutes left in the first half. I'm gonna be right back and go get some fresh water. All right, we're back. Kansas City. Kansas City's got a safety. The Seahawks just let me get this out of the way. This is very funny. That'll be a safety for Seattle, bringing it to 16-7. Nose tackle too. Wow, that's great. They're celebrating in Seattle. It's a fun time. Seattle. 10-yard pass, first down. Hey everyone, back. As we're wrapping up the second half, or the first half, pardon me, the 2-minute warning. We'll finish out this half, and then we'll catch you next week. Okay, so going back to the Going back to the best bets. So you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Raiders. Wow, I really like this hook on ESPN Bet if you can get it still. That would be crazy if you could get that. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. This is an interesting one. Again, I really like this ESPN Bet hook. Vegas, New England. Implied score of 44. Yeah. My goodness, the Broncos, 7.5. This seems wrong to me. Got an incomplete pass and a flag on the play in the secondary. Seattle's got to rush up the middle. All right, 1 minute 13 left in the first half. Drew Lock found his receiver. Seahawks, timeout, 38 seconds left. Touchdown, Seahawks. Jake Bobo. Great throw by Drew Lock. Rashard Smith makes it to about the 19-yard line out of the end zone. 29 seconds left at the end of the first half. Mitchell takes it for about 6. That looks like it's just going to wind down the clock. It looks like that'll take us to the half. All right. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. Appreciate you joining the Turf Monster Show as we test out the preseason.